everybody, this is Jim. Going to continue our series with Mr. X on the Wrestlemania main events.
The unpaid Mr. X, I assume.
Well, I can't afford you yet. You cost too much. So, what we're going to do is WrestleMania 3, Andre Hogan.
Is this the main event, or is it Steamboat Savage?
Well, Steamboat Savage was the best match on the card, but Andre Hogan sold the tickets. They withdrew everybody in.
It's the Superdome right here?
No, this is the Silverdome.
Oh, sorry, brother.
It's not in Detroit. It's in Pontiac, Michigan.
All right.
All right, folks. Go ahead and fire up your WWE Network or wherever you get your stuff at. We're gonna go to 2 hours, 39 minutes, 39 seconds. 2:39:39. Well, I hope everybody's there. We're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Bam. Here you see Andre with Bobby the Brain Heenan.
And up until maybe about a month before, you'd never think you'd see that here in the WWF. To see the Giant with Bobby Heenan, one of the most beloved figures, up until maybe a couple months before this event?
I believe so. And the backstory on this, Mr. X, is Andre was given a kind of a small trophy for being quote quote undefeated for 15 years.
You're right.
But after that, they gave Hogan a huge trophy for being the world champion. Well, Andre did not like that, and he felt slighted. And it was on Piper's Pit. Jesse the Body Ventura comes out and said, he told Piper, I know something you don't know. He asked Piper if he could produce Hogan next week. Piper said yes. The next week on Piper's Pit, Andre had Heenan.
So this whole thing really stemmed off. This is the World Wrestling Federation's fault, then, right? That Andre attacked Hogan, right? I mean, they're the ones that gave the trophies, right?
Yes, but I believe Andre was jealous. He never had the title. He felt slighted.
And on Piper's Pit, to set this up, you had Andre actually tear the chain of Hulk Hogan, right?
The cross, yes.
Yeah, right.
And kind of a little funny thing, Piper says to Hogan, "You're bleeding."
Yeah. What was that about?
I'm not sure.
So special guest ring announcer for this thing is Bob Uecker from the baseball world. And all right, here we go with the red and yellow. Hogan still got that same belt that he had at the WrestleMania 2-minute event. Although I'm sure the strap has been changed since that time. It's been a year.
But it's the same front, though.
Same plates, right.
Was that the same one that he... I know that it wasn't defended at WrestleMania 1, but was that the same belt he had when he first won the title?
I believe when he first won the title, he had that green strapped belt that had the round plate with the side plates had all the names of the former champions on them.
Oh, okay.
This is definitely the belt he had the previous year in the King Kong Bundy cage match.
Yes, and we had covered that in our previous video. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Kind of gives a lot of Hogan's insight into leading up to the Bundy match, but Hogan is playing up to the crowd here. And at the time, they say this was a world indoor attendance record for anything in North America, 93,000 plus.
There's a lot of people there. I mean, I don't know about 93,000. How would you ever know for sure? But that is a lot of people. I mean, this is where the Lions used to play, right? Detroit Lions.
That is correct.
So, I mean, you figure all these people you see that on the floor, they're not going to be there during a football game. So how many seats you have just there alone, right?
That is correct. And
And I know it's a far distance because everyone comes to the ring in that cherry picker. You know, they got to ride out.
Well, they did that because it's a football stadium, and that's quite far from the locker room. So
Right, but what I'm saying is there's seats along the whole way, so that's all people. You know, like a sea of humanity, so to say, right?
yes, and here you have the stare down.
Yeah, Hogan's looking up to Andre.
And if you notice the referee, if you're not familiar with, well, wait a minute.
Hogan goes for the big slam and he gets the 1, 2, 3 right there. Boom, match over. But somehow, is that Joey Morella?
Yes, that's what I was about to say. That is the son of Gorilla Monsoon, the longtime wrestler slash promoter slash announcer for WWF and WWF. And there was a lot of controversy about this pin, or so-called non-pin here. A lot of people thought it was a mess up by the referee, that it should have been a 3 that was legitimately Hogan did kick out, but the referee did not see it. So they had to kind of call an audible there because Hogan did not get his shoulder up in time.
What kind of disaster would that have been if that would have been the finish of the match right there? It was just like the very beginning, pretty much.
Well, I think they either would have went with it, or they would have had some convoluted storyline of having the Jack Tunney come out or something. They would have, at the next big show, they would have had to do something.
That wouldn't be for a very long time, though.
Well,
I mean, you didn't even have the Survivor Series at this time.
That is correct. There was only one pay-per-view going on at this time, and that was WrestleMania. But it's kind of foreshadowing a couple years later with Andre Hogan, when Andre won the belt. And we will definitely cover that in a coming episode.
Well, we got to talk about it if we're going to talk about WrestleMania 4 main event anyway. But anyway, Andre with a big slam down on Hogan. Well, what led to this was, I didn't mention, but Hogan tried to body slam Andre and he failed, and that's what led to that initial that non-3 count. Hogan's he's face down now though. He's hurting.
Well, Andre's the largest man he's ever had to face. If you watch WrestleMania 2 main event, I'll review. He faced a humongous man in King Kong Bundy, but Andre is much taller, much heavier, much stronger.
Andre's just like hoisting him up by the trunks there.
Oh, if you saw him throwing him in there, the ring actually moved. That's a lot of force that's he's throwing him with. And Hogan is no small man. He's about 300 pounds here, so Andre's kind of throwing him around like he's a rag doll here.
Is Hogan at his biggest right now? Could be, right? Maybe a little bit, I don't know.
I think he gets a little bit bigger with some help.
This is not Andre just throttling him, just leaning on him in the corner. Morella doesn't. I mean, he's counting, but
well, what is a guy that Morella size going to do between these two humongous guys here?
Well, he's a referee. If he can't enforce the rules, then he's not the man for the job, right?
I concur. Andre's kind of giving him the all this backside weight there. Big headbutt by the undefeated man.
That's the thing about Andre too, though. If you look at him against that top rope, and you look at how high his hips are, that's the thing, right? Where he walks over the top rope. Like some of these guys will walk over the top rope now, and they'll be just basically like jumping over the top rope, right? But you see how high his hips are in relation to that top rope.
Yes, and a lot of the guys had to squish down the top rope.
Right. It shows actually how tall he actually is at the hip.
Now they say Andre was 7'4". I'm not sure about that.
No way.
Maybe legitimately 6'10", 6'11" at the most, maybe.
I saw a photo with him and Wilt Chamberlain, and he's not nearly as tall as Wilt. So, I mean, Wilt was 7 feet, right? He is 7 feet, I guess. Hogan's bashing Andre's head into that top turnbuckle.
Andre looks a little confused, a little stunned here.
Andre hasn't been off his feet yet in this match.
Well, speaking of feet, he just put his size, I'm sure like 22, 23 into Hogan's mush here.
That's like the agony of defeat right there.
That's why you're not on camera.
Andre now looking powerful. Got Hogan up. Oh man, just chops him.
Oh, now he's got him in a big bear hug. But Hogan's feet are still on the ground, so he has a little bit of leverage still here.
Not really the typical Hogan match we've seen.
Well, again, he's facing a guy much bigger than he's ever faced before. So he has to come up with a different kind of strategy here. Instead of usually he'll hawk up and then he'll take care of the guys here, but he's in for the match of his life right now.
Jeez, look at the size of Andre's head.
Well, he had that acromegaly. He had that gigantism disease. And back then they didn't know how to get rid of the gland like they can now. They didn't know how to do the surgery because it was all new back then. So now anybody with that, they can have that gland taken out and they can be fine. But
I don't know if you just saw that, but Hogan was trying to do a little bit of grappling there. He was trying to swim his hands under to get underhooks.
I did not see that.
But Andre cut him off.
I'm not sure how much more Hogan can do here. He can stand. Andre's had him in this thing for a couple minutes now, and that's a lot of weight he's holding up.
Well, his way out is gassing on Andre's arms or getting to the ropes or maybe clapping his ears. But there's not much else he's going to do. I mean, maybe if he's going to maybe bite Andre, that's against the rules, but just to break the hold, you
got to do what you got to do here. But it looks like Hogan is fading. Joey Morello might be checking his arm to see if he's out here. He's probably... Oh, there it is. He's trying to raise the arms here.
3 times is going to be a charm for Hogan here to go out. This is for the championship, so if he's rendered out, that's considered a loss, right? I mean...
That is correct. That's basically the equivalent of a submission.
Although do they classify that as a submission because they said only a pinfall or submission wins the belt in the World Wrestling Federation, right?
That'd be a referee's decision saying that Hogan is out and he can't continue. So that's up to the discretion of the referee here.
No, Hogan's trying to fire back now. He's trying to hit the giant in the head with fists. I don't know why Morella's not telling him to stop it, but whatever.
He's hit him with about between 12 and 15 shots, and Andre's still hanging on to the tights here.
Andre's feeling he's staggered, but like I said, he hasn't left his feet yet in this match. So,
oh, that was like a rock hitting a mountain here. Hogan coming up with all his might, coming off the ropes, and Andre just standing tall.
And Hogan filled with just a backhand shot from Andre there.
Oh, looks like Andre does he's trying to shake off the punches here. He's a little stunned here.
Oh, Hogan just big-footed by Andre right in the midsection, and he rolls out to the floor. And Andre's going to follow him. Oh, boy.
I'm not sure that's a wise move here.
Andre just content to just backhand chop Hogan. Hogan's against the post here. Andre's choking him. Oh.
Looks like
Andre went for a headbutt, maybe?
Andre went for a headbutt, and Hogan moved, and Andre's head hit the steel post on the outside here.
Yeah, Iron's gonna beat Cranium any day of the week.
What's Hogan doing here?
Hogan's lifting up those mats, blue mats from the floor here.
And what's underneath that?
Well, you got an elevated stage here because they had, I guess because of the way that the stadium seating was, is that the ring is not placed on the floor of the Silverdome here.
Are you kidding me? Looked like Hogan was gonna go for a pile driver on Andre.
It looked like he was trying to end his life or minimally his career there.
But
yeah, they're on plywood right here.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
probably just covering the stage.
Yeah, they got a stage. It's probably like 2 by 2 feet on center or something like that.
They're both back in the ring because you can't win it outside the ring now, so you got to get back in there and try to finish it off here.
Well, Andre's glad to not have been pile driven on the floor. Hogan took a backdrop though. Hogan comes off with a clothesline, and Andre has been knocked off his feet for the first time in this match.
And it looks like Bobby Heenan, the manager of Andre, is very concerned. He's trying to shake Andre, you know, get the cobwebs out there, and because with the championship belt and the title, that brings money, and that's what Heenan wants. He wants that title. He wants that power to the manager here.
Hogan's feeling it now. He knows he can get Andre off his feet at least for the first time, and here he goes for a big body slam, and he gets him over.
Oh, it looks like he's going for his big leg drop here.
Hits it. Is it going to get a 1, 2, 3? Hulk Hogan wins. There it is. The big leg drop.
Well, that was always a setup there. Usually he gives the big boot and then the leg drop, but he slammed Andre and then he went for the leg drop. I think he had to capitalize on the moment there, and this was considered a passing of the torch from Andre to Hogan, because Andre had been quote unquote undefeated for 15 years, and I say quote unquote undefeated because he had some losses in the past, but they never acknowledged that. So they want to keep the storyline going here.
Right. I mean, they have to do it like that though, in a certain way to promote the big match, because I believe they also said that Hogan never wrestled Andre in the WWF, and that's not true either. So
I believe they wrestled, was that on the undercard of Bruno Zbyszko?
They
in Shea Stadium?
It might have been the WWF, 3, 4 W's, but they did wrestle before in the company, so. But they got to keep the story going. But either way, Hulk Hogan still got the belt. Belt's in the middle of the ring. He's telling them to come back in. But Andre's done for the night.
Well, this is not the end of the feud, as we referenced. WrestleMania 4 was kind of a setup off of this. But it was kind of a mess, to say the least. But we'll cover that in a future video.
Well, Andre and Bobby Heenan are leaving in the cherry picker there, and Hogan's he's saying goodbye to the Giant.
And what's next in after a Hogan wins, or even if he loses, what should he do here?
I don't know. He's waving everybody, and he's snapping his fingers now. He's dancing along to his Real American here.
Oh, looks like the fans.
Oh, wait a minute. He's cupping his ear.
Looks like the fans are throwing trash at Andre and Heenan on the way back here. That's uncalled for.
He's cupping his ear. He wants to know which side of the ring is going to get the double bicep.
So Hogan must pose in, huh?
Looks like it. I think he's gonna pose for everybody, all 4 sides. Frankly, I don't think anyone's going to be left out here. He was massive here.
Yep, and it looks like Hogan has his cart that just came to the ring here, so. He might just walk back. He's on a high here. He might just walk back and still party with the fans here. Well, folks, as you can see, this was a much talked about main event in the annals of wrestling history. Hogan beat the Giant. He beat him. So on that note, we're gonna cut it off here, and well, folks, thank you for joining me again, and we're going to have more future videos. Go ahead and watch our other ones. And we're going to have more wrestling ones. We're going to have more sports ones. We're going to have a little bit of everything. And if you have suggestions for what you want to see, put them in there. Put them in the notes. We'll see what we can do. I think that's it, folks. Goodbye.